Hello, my name is Julio Casares, and I will be giving a brief introduction today on language development in infants and toddlers. I emphasize that this is a brief introduction because the world and study of language development has yielded much research and literature, and due to the time constraints of this project, this will only be a brief introduction to lay a working foundation for our topic and our observation on language development and communication in infants and toddlers and communication in the elderly. Now, when we focus on developing communication and language in infants, there are four elements of language development that are conventionally looked to as reference points to gauge a child's aptitude for communication, their progress, and where they need to improve, where they're excelling. These four include use or pragmatics, meaning or semantics, rules or syntax and morphology, and form and phonology. First, there is use or pragmatics, which focuses on the context of what a child is trying to communicate. What is their objective? What are they trying to receive? What are they trying to give? What are the signals that they are trying to send? If they are crying, is it because they want food? Are they crying because they want attention? Because they feel unsafe? And are they aware that they can give and receive these signals? Is that something that they can manipulate? Secondly is meaning or semantics, which is really the chosen topic or area of communication or idea that a child is trying to communicate. And are they aware that they are communicating what they intend to say? Are they on the same topic that you're referencing? Do they mean the theme that you mean instead of just repetition? Are they saying a word with awareness as to what it means and the implications for that word? Next is rules or syntax, which is very directly proper use of grammar. It involves, difference between possession and pluralization. As far as I went to my grandma's house, or I went to my grandma's house. Is the child trying to say that they went to the house that belongs to their grandma's, or they went to multiple grandmas in one house, or even in an attempt to form a sentence where words are reversed in a way where all the right words are there, but in a wrong order. This applies in principle to every language, but changes according to their conventional rules. Lastly is form or phonology, and that is very directly how the communication actually takes place. Is it written or is it verbal? Is the child showing the ability to uniformly express an idea, such as the word house, either written or spoken, represents the letters House, and it uniformly represents the same idea no matter how it is communicated, as long as it is communicated in the conventional form. Branching off upon this are the four main schools of thought on language development, or rather explanations of language development. Language development is a very amazing and astonishing feat in children, that they can learn these complex things such as languages in such a astonishing rate and such a high success rate, and do it with relative ease in comparison to the difficulty that adults face in learning a second language. The first explanation, the nativist or innate explanation, references back to this idea that learning language is astonishing, and the achievements made by children who are learning languages, and sometimes learning two languages at one time, are so rapid and so above the rest of their development that it must be something within a child that is natural, and within humanity in general is a natural or innate ability to learn language, and that it is already in us at birth, and there is, very much no way for us to go on about not learning language. Now, this does seem very illogical, and it is an easy connection to make, but it does very inadequately explain all that goes into learning language, as far as the interaction between mother and child, or parent and child, and even the cases of feral childs who, didn't have any contact with the outside world, and didn't develop language, and then it wasn't a natural thing for them to do because they needed some kind of outside stimulus. The second school of thought is the cognitive explanation, and this focuses on the relationship between cognition or thinking and language, and it is very abstract but also very, very interesting, and it basically at its core begs the question, what comes first, language or the idea? The idea of concept or language? Can a child digest the concept or an idea that they see in front of them before they entirely have the words to put that into perspective for themselves? Or do they need the words first in order to have a concept? Or do the concepts themselves help them learn the words? Now, there are experts that lean to both sides of these, but there are also, and what I found most interesting and logical, were the ones that went down the middle and that kind of offered up the idea that it's a zero-sum game, and that children are learning through either interaction, through both the concepts and the languages simultaneously, building on themselves a nice set of skills. The final explanation is the interactional explanation, that children learn through interaction, and this is the most widely accepted belief and explanation for language development. It focuses on the fact that children simply learn through observation and through interaction with the adults and siblings and uncles and aunts and just trusted individuals around them that they have affection for and they pay attention to and they receive attention from. Now, on the other side of the spectrum from this is the disorders in language acquisition. Despite the astonishing amount of human beings who are successful in learning language, there are very few who do have a dysfunction in their ability to communicate. Now, there are a wide amount of disorders in language acquisition, and I chose to focus on one that has a little more relevancy in the mainstream America, and it is something that I feel has been a little more of a prevalent issue in the past couple years, and that is the autism spectrum disorders, and also referred to as ASD. Now, there are three main and more common forms of the autism spectrum disorder. At the far end and extreme side of the autism spectrum disorder, which would be full autism, is autistic disorder. And in the middle is pervasive development disorder, and the most mild version of autism is Asperger's syndrome. Now, all of these three things contain varying amounts of a deficiency in three categories. There's social interaction, communication, and aversive behaviors. Now, the mildest form of autism, Asperger's, is where a child becomes obsessive over a single thing or topic or activity, to the point that their social skills are markedly impaired because they focus on nothing else but that thing. And they are often unable to communicate well about anything else, and it makes them a little socially deficient and uncoordinated at times. In the middle of Asperger's and full autism is pervasive development disorder. And this is referred to when children have a very, very hard time communicating with their peers and communicating with their teachers, and in general, just the people and their peers around them. Now, this is somebody who is very, very difficult with being social, but also too social not to be considered fully autistic. And on the full autistic side is a child who has heavy problems with social interaction and communication, and often exhibit a underlying anxiety and in most cases, some intellectual issues that are very obvious and really prohibit from living a normal life. And I hope this contributes to some sort of idea on how children learn language, what barriers may be in the way, and this also contributes to the overall picture of our project and our group's presentations as a whole, in seeing where we go from learning language as a child to where we are communicating as an elder or a senior citizen. And thank you for your time.